what if we can bring that medicine faster to Taiwanese patients? What would it take for us to do that? And it's not about performance, it is about there are people waiting for us. What we've seen from studies is that an investment in adult immunization is an investment in a healthy economy. For every dollar invested in adult vaccination, it could yield over $3.4 in economic revenue. So pretty impressive returns. Focusing on our people allows us to perform really well because we've got highly engaged, really motivated people who want to do the very best thing for healthcare here in Taiwan. I can't sit in the office and get a good feel for what's happening in my business. I have to be out. And again, my team is all over the island of Taiwan. If I just sat in the office, I wouldn't really understand what was happening in my organization. So that's why I'm out there. I feel it's my duty, but I love it.
各位观众朋友大家好，真的很高兴今天又有一次机会能够在这个频道跟大家介绍一位非常特别又很有标杆意义的女性领导者。事实上呢，这几年天下杂志出版了不少女性领导者的故事，譬如像雅虎台湾的执行长邹开莲的不走直路也能够达到目的地，又或者是上一次我们节目当中跟大家介绍的巨大基界的前董事长杜秀珍从零开始的高效管理学。这些精彩的好故事呢，让我们看到在不同的产业跟文化当中，女性怎么样用坚定跟温柔引领组织前进。今天我们邀请到的来宾呢，是在先进的生技医药产业里面一位女性领导者，那就是 GSK 葛兰素史克的制药的台湾总经理 Tina Graves。Welcome。Thank you. Tina 总经理呢是在北美、欧洲甚至于亚太很多的好几个市场里面，领导团队推出新药上市，也推动了企业转型。1年多前，他来到台湾，开始了一个新的篇章。那葛兰素史克 GSK 事实上，若是大家还不太熟悉的话，它是全球最大的药厂之一。那它除了药之外，事实上它对全人类健康影响最大的，事实上是它很先进的疫苗，从全球第一个疟疾疫苗开始，然后到现在大家非常常打的那个流感疫苗，又或者是 B 型肝炎疫苗、呼吸道融合病毒疫苗 RSV 等等之类的，对于全球公共卫生都有非常巨大的影响力。因为后疫情时代，健康不只是个人的选择了，事实上更是国家韧性的一个代表性的指标。而在这个全球生医药界剧烈重组的一个新的版图当中 ，GSK 像我刚刚说的这些重要的发展跟重要的代表的药物是怎么样来能够透过国际视野跟在地的实践，跟台湾的医疗产业共创未来呢？今天就让我们一起来听听 Tina 总经理他要跟我们说些什么。Thank you, Tina.Thank
you for having me.
Coming on to talk to us about how GSK is transforming the global and local biomedical landscape and how female leaders can change their own career and the bigger society. But please, first of all, say hi to our audience.
Sure. Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I look forward to spending time together today.
Thank you. Welcome, Tina. And with over 2 decades of global experience, Tina has worked across GSK headquarters in North America, Europe, and key markets in Asia Pacific. She's successfully launched numerous innovative medicines and drove high growth for key vaccines in these areas. And she also played a pivotal role in digital transformation and organizational restructuring. Tina, you've been to Taiwan for over 1 year now. Yes. Share with us, please, what do you or GSK see in Taiwan? What kind of opportunities or potential does GSK see in Taiwan's healthcare landscape that you would consider to invest this moment?
Thank you for asking. And maybe first, why don't I introduce GSK just for your audience? So GSK is a global biopharma company. We're focused on the disease areas of infectious diseases, oncology or cancer, and respiratory and immunology. We're also a leading vaccine manufacturer. In fact, most of the babies here in Taiwan receive at least one GSK vaccine as they're growing up. Yeah. And in fact, our vaccines are provided to millions of Taiwanese each year through public-funded programs. GSK also, in the history of GSK, launched the first ever asthma inhaler and first ever HIV antiviral medicines in the world. So something that we're very proud of as we look back on our heritage of how we've impacted the health of people in the world. Here in Taiwan, we've operated for nearly 50 years, and we have more than 300 colleagues that work for GSK Taiwan currently. Our mission at GSK is to positively impact the lives of more than 2.5 billion people around the world in the next decade. Here in Taiwan, when we look at what we're working with as a society, Taiwan has become super aging this year. And so at GSK, we are and will continue to be a trusted partner in public health as our society continues to age. Taiwan stands out for its world-class medical education, healthcare professionals. We have a highly accessible and well-covered health insurance system.
Yes.
And that's recognized not just in Taiwan, but around the world. We are a global talent incubator. I see it at GSK, but we see it all around the world. We have incredible talents that have been born and raised here in Taiwan that are making an impact around the world in healthcare. We have a culture that I've experienced personally, but of course in my work life as well, a culture here in Taiwan of inclusiveness, flexibility, a mindset that fuels innovation. And I think that's what will bring us forward as we continue to deal with challenges like our super aging society. We have some exciting international congresses that will come to Taiwan in the next few years, again, recognizing the high level and quality of medical education here. So the World Congress of Internal Medicine will be here next year, as will the Asian Pacific Society of Cardiology Congress, and in 2027, the International Councils of Nurses
These
will
are
be
all
here.
international.
They're all international congresses, and they're coming here to Taiwan. And it's a testament to the quality of healthcare we have here and the innovational science that we have.
Thank you. Thank you for projecting such a positive image of this island. Anyways.
It's well deserved for Taiwan.
But anyway, we do have very good educational background, as you've mentioned, in medicine and healthcare, and here in Taiwan, and raised and cultivated abundant source of talent in the business. Yes. And Taiwan, as you've mentioned, is well known in the world for its health insurance system.
Very much, yes.
Which cultivated a very generous public health environment for the people. I think that's helpful to GSK's success here on this island too.
It is. We're proud to play a part. Yeah.
And besides these fundamentals, as you mentioned, actually Commonwealth and Common Health magazines are also following Taiwan's journey into a super age society. And super age society, to define that, there will be people over 65 years old constitute over 1/5 of the total population. This is a major challenge and also a huge opportunity for the healthcare industry. As an industry leader, how will GSK leverage its strength and partner with Taiwan's healthcare ecosystem to help us deal with this super-aged future?
You know, it's not just Taiwan, right? I think on our side of the world, Asian countries are struggling with whether they're super aged yet or they're becoming super aged.
Sure.
And what we're seeing is that while countries, including Taiwan, are becoming super aged, we're not seeing, while people are living longer as well, we're not seeing them live longer healthy. So that impact on, we call it healthy life years, it's not changing. So what does that look like in Taiwan? So if we fast forward to 2070, the current prediction is 46.5% of Taiwan, the population will be 65 and older. So almost half.
Wow.
Yes. And what that means is that if the unhealthy life years don't change, the 10% of people's lifespan will be spent unhealthy. So there's, of course, we talked about national health insurance. If 50% of the population is over 65, we need ways to make sure that people are healthy as they age, not only aging into that. So when we look at what do we control at GSK, right? I wish I could control everything and we could help everyone, but what do we do at GSK? Our purpose is to unite science, technology, and talent. We talked about talent. We have incredible talent at GSK Taiwan. So unite science, technology, and talent to get ahead of disease together. And when we look at Taiwan as a super aging society, prevention is key, particularly where we sit, adult vaccination. And so why do we think that? Well, of course there's the health benefit, but even when we look at it from an economical perspective, what we've seen from studies is that an investment in adult immunization is an investment in a healthy economy. For every dollar invested in adult vaccination, it could yield over $3.4 in economic revenue. So pretty impressive returns. When we also look at adult immunization, they help us to contain outbreaks of infectious diseases, and in turn, that helps us limit antimicrobial resistance. If you're not having infections, you don't need to use antimicrobials, and therefore the antimicrobials become still available for us to treat infectious diseases that we don't have vaccines for. As I spoke about, yes, an economic benefit to investing in adult immunization, but also helping to improve a country's productivity and resilience, which is something we talk about here in Taiwan, of course. And healthy aging is the way to go for a rapidly changing demographic, particularly one that is super aging.
You're right.
At GSK, we know that we are a piece to this puzzle, but we absolutely can't solve for it ourselves. So we've been calling for a cross-sector approach to accelerate adult vaccination programs. So what that could look like is early intervention, sustainable funding, and addressing systemic barriers. All of those things are essential. And then there's the side of the individual, right, of being vaccinated in the first place.
Whether you would like to take the shots or not.
Yeah, so there's a lot of misinformation that circulates. And so from our position, we believe that we have to strengthen public education and awareness while also building long-term public trust in vaccine to truly make healthy aging possible.
Thank you. I think we will all understand we will need a vaccine policy in general. That's not a problem. But I think you mentioned about, you talked about the need of public trust in vaccine, because that's on a more personal level of the questions. However, anyway, there seems to be a change of attitude toward vaccine recently that caused some alarm in local community here in Taiwan. Is like to people like me, especially, who read news mostly, media. But anyway,
yes.
So being an expert on the vaccine and primary care, can Tina help us, our audience, or me at least, to understand what should consumers like me care about vaccine injection or vaccination in our future health life?
Sure. So I'm not going to give you medical advice. But choosing to get vaccinated is a very personal decision. And it's one that should be made together with your healthcare professional. Only you know your health status, and your doctor will be the one who can help give you the right level of information, accurate information about vaccines. Relying on a Google search or what you might read in media that isn't as reliable as Commonwealth, it won't give you the full picture, and it definitely won't tell you what's right for you. So I would encourage, exactly. So I would encourage everyone, talk to your doctor about what's best for you, particularly as you're aging. We think about, so my husband just turned 50. I apologize to him that I've just now told everyone his age, but he's now thinking about, okay, what vaccines does he need? And in addition, what other measures does he need to take to keep himself healthy as he ages? So
there are other personal choices too.
Of course.
That you do or you do not.
Of course. course. And that's a discussion he's had with his physician. Say, okay, I'm now 50. I know that I'm moving into an older adult category. What else do I need to do to help make sure that I age in a healthy way? And vaccines are part of that, but so too is eating a healthy diet, exercising, making sure you have regular tests that you need as you age, like colonoscopies or mammograms for women. So many, many things that we do to take care of our health as we age, and vaccines play an important part there. But which vaccines you need, that's a conversation to have with your own doctor.
This is very educational, at least for myself. For instance, in the past, previously, as long as I get a notice that I should get a vaccine, I'll go.
Yes.
I won't ask anybody and I won't talk to anybody. But I think this is very educational. Consider my age or my situation that I should have a talk with certain public health expert or my physicians about whether I should get this or what kind of impact it will have on me later on. So this is something I should. Thank you for explanation and assurance. So let's talk a bit about your personal leadership and management style.
Sure.
As you mentioned, Taiwan is known for its excellent talent and unique team culture. From your perspective as a global leader, how do you integrate performance-driven leadership with Taiwan's people-oriented culture to build a high-performance, cohesive team and ignite innovation at GSK Taiwan?
So I don't believe that performance and people are two separate things. You know, our company is, yes, we have incredible vaccines, incredible medicines, but it's because of our people that they're available to the people of Taiwan who need them. So by driving performance, I also see it as helping people be their very best.
True.
So our pipeline continues to evolve at GSK. I've talked about vaccines and adult immunization. We also have a pipeline that's focused on specialty care and oncology. And as we transform as an organization, a big focus that I have with my team is unlocking their ability to innovate. Something I've discovered in Taiwan is when people are given the freedom to think differently, they do magical things. They really do. And so one of the things we're working on is helping to foster this culture that encourages and rewards innovation, even if people don't get it right the first time, right? Giving them that safety to fail, because when we try new things, they don't all work, right?
Right.
The other thing we're doing is, I firmly believe that leadership needs to be authentic to work. And part of authentic leadership, in my opinion, is listening to everyone in your organization, not only people who tell you what you want to hear. So I spend a lot of my time, once a month I'm out with my team and our customers. Once every few months I do these listening sessions where I meet with, not all at once, but 300 of our, we have more than 300 employees. We meet in small groups, so 10 or less at a time. And there's no agenda besides, I ask the same two questions. What's working well? Because it's always nice to hear what's working well. But also, and what's not working? Where can we improve as a team, right? What else do you need to see to make GSK a better place to work? And so we can deliver better for the patients that we serve. Every discussion is different, but there's always themes, right? We take the actions back from our team. I bring them back to my lead team, and this happens in real time. It's not like a 6-month-long project. I meet with my team. The listening sessions happen for about 4 days. The very next day, we're looking through the actions, and we start to mobilize the team to make it happen.
200-300 of them already? Or
not
many,
yet? Many times. So once when I first came last year, then towards the end of the year.
1 year time already?
Yeah. So I'm coming up on my third round.
Whoa.
But I call it an iterative process, right? The first time I came in, it was very much about process and how do we do things differently, and Tina, this takes too long, that takes too long. And now it's about, hey, can we do this, and can we try something new? So it's an indication for me of our culture is evolving, and people are thinking about what we can do instead of maybe what we can't do. And that makes it really exciting for people to come to work.
Yeah, right.
When we think about people development, again, I want people to enjoy working at GSK and I want them to stay for a long time. And so we focus a lot on helping people develop in their current role and then helping support them in reaching their career aspirations, whether they want to stay in current role forever or grow into a different role here in Taiwan or outside of Taiwan. We have a number of development programs that allow us to help people reach their development goals. And then I encourage all of my lead team to meet with their direct reports regularly, to have development conversations. I meet with my direct reports once a quarter. We go through their development and make sure they're staying on track to meet the goals that they have for their development. So it's a very development-focused organization, but again, focusing on our people allows us to perform really well, because we've got highly engaged, really motivated people who want to do the very best thing for healthcare here in Taiwan.
Excuse me if I can ask, how much time do you spend on talking to your employee, like percentage-wise, for instance? Like,
percentage-wise?
Have you
we did the math recently. It's
something like that?
20 to 25% at least.
Shame on me. Oh, okay.
But I can't sit, so we have an office close to Taipei Main Station. I can't sit in the office and get a good feel for what's happening in my business. I have to be out. And again, my team is all over the island of Taiwan. If I just sat in the office, I wouldn't really understand what was happening in my organization. So that's why I'm out there. I feel it's my duty, but I love it. I have to say, it's something I'm very, very proud of. All of these things, and we just recently won a family-friendly award from the Taipei City government just last week.
Good.
We're very proud of the family-friendly policies that we have. Some of them are 18 weeks paid leave for maternity leave, but also caregiver leave, which we think is really important. Helps people to show up really strong at work, but also to take care of what they need to in their personal lives. Look, I'm a mom. We haven't talked about me personally, but I'm the general manager here in Taiwan, but I'm the general manager at home too. I've got 3 lovely children, one husband. I always say 3 kids, 1 husband. And I've been supported by the great policies we have at GSK, even as I've moved around the world with the company. So really, really proud of what we do to support our people so they can show up strong at work.
How much time do you spend with your child? No.
Oh, I think that's a hard question to answer.
Forget it.
It depends. They just went back to school today, so I was very happy to say goodbye.
Anyway, I do read that GSK's maternal leave is very impressive.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
It is also amongst the 20 best employer in the business. Anyways, we also know that Tina is concerned to DEI, Inclusion Initiative, brings her to foster a more inclusive workplace culture in the healthcare industry. So it's really also very heartwarming to hear that you are the mother of 3 children. This is one subject I really rarely touch upon in my previous interviews with other CEOs and GMs. Therefore, so tell us more about your life in Taiwan. After a year of experiencing local culture and customs, is there a small moments or cultural observation that will left you with a deep impression or feelings about this island? What are they?
Sure. So I love living in Taiwan. And I feel very, very fortunate that I get to live here for a period of my life. So Taiwan's not the first Asian country I've lived in.
You're right.
I lived in Japan very early before I joined the pharmaceutical industry, very early in my adult life. So I graduated university, I moved to Japan in 1999. So no Google Translate. And I taught English in a public middle school. I was a student. I was an assistant English teacher. So I was the teacher who would help with pronunciation and help with culture. But because there was no technology like we have today, I had to both learn the language and learn the culture, maybe the old-fashioned way.
Not Google way.
Not Google. And there was no, my phone was a flip phone, and I texted people using SMS. But it taught me so much and it probably made me the leader I am today, because I moved on my own. I was solo. I had to learn how to navigate Higashi Osaka, so East Osaka. I bought more things wrong than right from the grocery store. Because you can't read anything, right? There was no camera for me to take a picture and it would translate. So it was very lonely and very eye-opening for me to understand a few things. So one was, if I can figure this out, I can figure anything out. Right? You're on your own. I rode a bicycle to the school every day. I just had to figure it out. So if I could figure that out,
by yourself?
I went by myself. If I can do that, I can do many things in life, right? It was a bit of the learning. But maybe what's kept me very open to moving anywhere in the world, really, is that I know at our core as human beings, we are all mostly the same, right? We want the same fundamental things in life.
Basic needs.
Basic needs. And most people are very kind and warm. Taiwan people are especially kind and warm. At least that's been my experience. And it's the extra maybe 10% of us, the culture piece, that makes us unique. But my experience living around the world has been that people are people. And the more that, this is a bit about leadership too, the more you treat people like human beings, and like our parents taught us, treat people the way you want to be treated, the more that you will succeed. So living in Taiwan, you asked about a specific sort of touching moment. I love to run. I run early in the morning before life gets crazy and the kids are up and all that. So every day, 5 a.m., I'm in the park. And what I love about Taiwan, so if I was running at 5 a.m. in Canada, first of all, I wouldn't do it alone because it's safe.
Oh, really? Canada?
No. But I would be alone. And people would say I'm crazy. 5 a.m. in the park near where I live, there are many adults older than me doing Tai Chi or using the publicly available, weight training, exercise equipment. And a moment where I felt like, yes, I'm really recognized as being part of the community. I was out for my run, and there's a lovely woman who I passed on my run. I passed her every day. And usually we just, you have your headphones in, you just power through. And she smiled and looked at me and said, "Zao An."
Oh.
And I stopped, I smiled, I could see she was talking, but I couldn't hear her. And then I took my headphones out and I said, "Zao An." And my smile was I smiled the rest of my run because I thought, okay, she's recognized that I'm a regular. And she's taken 5 seconds out of her day to just acknowledge that she sees me too. And that made me feel so good. She probably wouldn't even remember if I told this story, but for me, it made me feel like, okay, I'm part of the club that runs and goes to the park in the morning.
She sees you.
Yes.
And you're right, we should see people around us.
But it was really, really remarkable.
You're right.
And what I love is it brings me peace to see people at 5 a.m. taking care of their health, whether it's their physical, mental, or spiritual health, doing Tai Chi or doing exercise. That's part of healthy aging.
You're right.
Right? That's part of taking care of yourself. Yes, we talked about adult immunization, the community piece, right? They're doing Tai Chi not alone, but with others, and taking care of their health. So it's all part of it. So that's a touching moment for me anyway in Taiwan. There are many, and I love the food in Taiwan, so I could talk to you for half an hour about the food.
We are very famous for that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a surprise, but just the sense of community and the welcoming nature of Taiwanese people has been absolutely incredible.
Well, welcome to stay here for longer.
Thank you. I would love to.
Anyway, and coming back to you yourself, your personal thing, your career journey is a very inspiring model for many female businesswomen, I think, because you talked about it earlier, like different, like going to a strange place by yourself and learning to deal with things and get to see people, I think, as people, see them engage. I think that's very, very educational too. So anyway, it's a very good model. Therefore, I'm curious, is there a core belief or motto that has sustained you through challenges and continues to give you strength? Is there anything like that keep you going?
Yeah, I have two. So one maybe that's about how to overcome challenges. And this started more when, so my family, together with my 3 kids and 2 dogs, we've moved from Canada to Belgium to Singapore and now Taiwan. And when you relocate internationally, it's not smooth. And so our very first move, we had some challenges that put a lot of stress on the family. And we came up with a motto that was, well, the Graves family figures it out. So we will figure it out. And my motto, probably before that, but it was strengthened then, and as we've moved around the world, was there is a solution to every problem. And that sticks with me with big work problems, big messy challenges we have to solve together as a team. It sticks with me with home stuff as I raise teenage daughters.
Oh, they are teenagers.
They're teenagers. It's very interesting. They're wonderful, actually. They're wonderful. But there's always a solution to every problem. And sometimes we use the phrase in Canada, and probably I believe it translates in Mandarin as well, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Right? Sometimes the light is far away, or the tunnels in Taiwan are not straight, right? Going through the mountain, it twists and turns, and it's dark in there, right? And when you're solving problems, whether alone or as a team, sometimes when you're in those curves of that tunnel, it's very dark. And you can't see the light yet. But if you believe that there is a solution, or there is that light at the end of the tunnel, you can still navigate and move forward with these, micro solutions. You can continue to forge ahead until you get to that light. So I firmly believe that there is a solution to every problem. And maybe linked to that is my other phrase that I've said probably for 20 years of my life. It's more of a question. And the question is, what if? So I talked to my team, we were talking about innovation.
You're right.
Often I'll say to my team, let's shoot for the moon, even if we land in the stars. And that means a lot of my questions are phrased as, what if? What if we can bring that medicine faster to Taiwanese patients? What would it take for us to do that? And it's not about performance, it is about there are people waiting for us. What can we do that's in our control to help make our medicines or our vaccines more accessible to people faster and in a better way? Mission.
Power
it's about a
of
mission.
Dream.
Yes, it's about dreaming. And then coming back with the reality of what are the key steps to help us get there.
Very important and very encouraging. There's always an answer to
There is always.
To every question.
Even when it feels hard. There's always a solution.
It's very positive.
But it's a little like Finding Nemo. What does Dory say? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Look, I think it's something that can get you out of bed on the hard days, right? There's always going to be a solution. We're going to figure this out.
Or any hard situation, hard task.
Exactly.
In front of you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Tina, for such an encouraging sharing, really conversation. And from global trends to local leadership, we've seen not only a leader's strategic vision, but also her deep care for and insights into Taiwan. So let's keep moving forward because there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. 非常谢谢 Tina 总经理今天精彩的分享，从全球的产业趋势到在地的团队领导，我们不仅看到了一位全球领导，就是跨国领导的一个宏观布局，更感受得到他对台湾这片土地的深刻的观察跟投入。女性领导者怎么样可以用他们的专业、智慧跟温度 为企业跟社会来创造价值，这或者也是正是台湾在变动的环境当中非常需要的一个力量。再次感谢 Tina 总经理，若是你想要知道更多女性领导者的故事的话，欢迎你留言告诉我们。我们谢谢您的收看，我们下次